Well, new this morning, a Boy Scout is dead after floodwaters swept through Philmont Scout Ranch in Cimarron. It happened early Saturday morning. State police say a group of 8 scouts and their teens were on a trek with 4 adults that was supposed to last about 2 weeks. Investigators say floodwaters swept through the canyon, overrunning the scouts' campsite. Now, 4 boys were swept away. Philmont staff members responded and found 3 of the 4 down the canyon. State police search and rescue crews later found the 4th boy dead about a mile away from the campsite. No names have been released. We're learning much more about the high schooler shot and killed in the Heights. It comes on the heels of another senseless shooting in the same part of town. News 13's Madeline Schmidt reports.
In a violent and senseless moment, the life of an Albuquerque teen taken far too soon Friday night.
How disgraceful this is. A young man killed.
It happened just before 10 at a home on Nokomis in the foothills. Neighbors say they heard 5 gunshots followed by a slew of police sirens.
We know that shots were fired into the residence.
Inside, 17-year-old Jaden Chavez Silver hit and killed by a bullet. Too emotional for words, friends placed flowers outside the home Saturday afternoon. They say it's not where Jaden lived, but that a group of about 10 friends were hanging out here.
A possible case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and some lowlife, like I said, shot into the house, and he's now deceased in the prime of his life.
Next door, Dia Renfro was surprised to hear about the shooting.
Right there in that house? Oh my gosh.
She says the 40 years she's lived in this neighborhood have been very quiet. In a statement, Jaden's family said the soon-to-be Manzano High School senior was a great kid and big brother, and that Jaden was loved and will be missed by everyone. Local UFC fighter Diego Sanchez also tweeted a picture Saturday saying, "This little guy was a champion, brother, son, athlete, friend. He was just in the wrong place, the wrong time." Police don't know if the shooter was on foot or in a car, but hope someone with information will come forward. Madeline Schmidt, KRQE News 13.
This is the second murder in the Heights in less than 24 hours. Just across Tramway, a man was gunned down early Friday morning, feet from his front door. Police say 59-year-old Steve Gorecki, a popular bartender in town, had confronted a group that was breaking into cars, and that's when they believe he was murdered. Authorities say they don't know who the criminals are right now. They do believe they've been breaking into cars that have garage door openers left in them and using those devices to get into people's homes. Nearly 100 firefighters and other resources have been sent to help battle several wildfires in California and Arizona. It's part of New Mexico's Returning Heroes Wildland Firefighter program. State Forestry says while New Mexico has had a slow fire season, other states are still extremely dry. Along with personnel, the program will send 4 fire engines. Officials say crews will spend at least 2 weeks assisting with firefighting efforts. 2 lawmakers are introducing legislation they say would protect farmers and ranchers from losing money by taking the Mexican gray wolf off the endangered list. Republican lawmakers Steve Pierce of New Mexico and Paul Gosar of Arizona introduced the bill last week that some are calling a death sentence for the gray wolf or lobo. The 2 Republicans say the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has ignored public safety concerns and has failed to establish recovery goals. Now, according to a report released back in February, there are at least 109 wolves left in the wild and 300 in captivity. Walmart is urging its meat and egg suppliers to treat their farm animals better. The nation's largest food retailer is also pushing farmers to avoid using antibiotics on animals unless it's necessary to prevent or treat diseases. The move comes as people want more information on where their food comes from and more natural options. Well, 2 people have been rushed to the hospital this weekend after 2 separate shark attacks off the North Carolina coast. A teenage boy was bitten Saturday afternoon. It's the 6th attack in about 2 weeks. And on Friday, just about 20 minutes north, a 47-year-old man was bitten while trying to alert other swimmers. Witnesses say he walked out of the water and just fell onto the sand. Beachgoers say it's scary.
Once we realized that it was a shark attack, we stayed at the pool up there, and we haven't. Like, I've been taking a water bottle to my head. I'm terrified.
So it's a little scary. Don't remember seeing so many shark attacks, and it just seems they're occurring quite often now.
Both of the victims' names have not been released. A scary scene at a Pride event in California. 6 people have been arrested and 1 person is in the hospital following a shooting there. Investigators say some type of argument broke out at the event in San Francisco and 1 man was shot in the arm. Police say the shooting is unrelated to the Pride event.
Yeah, I heard at least 3 or 4 gunshots and looked over to see 2 cops with guns pulled and everybody crouching and rushing around. So at that time, I just got low and waited until things kind of died down and got out as soon as possible.
Police say 1 person fired 4 shots from a handgun, hitting a vendor in the arm. He's expected to be okay. About 500 people were injured after an explosion at a water park in Taiwan. It happened last night as a crowd of 1,000 spectators were enjoying a concert. Investigators say the explosion was caused by a powder near the stage. More than 150 people were hospitalized and many more suffered minor injuries. It's not known if the powder was part of the performance or if it was set off by someone. Authorities are still investigating. Thanks, Chris. We now know more about a shooting that happened early Saturday morning in downtown Albuquerque. Now, this is an update to a story we brought you yesterday. Authorities say it all started with a fight inside the Lotus nightclub. Officers say after the shooting, the SUV blew through stop signs, and during the pursuit, they say the gunman threw out his weapon. Eventually, the SUV stopped near 10th and Iron. Now, this is not the suspect's first brush with the law. Police say 38-year-old Michael James Ponce has done it plenty of times before.
He's got his hands on the gun. He's up to his old tricks. Time and time again, we're seeing this. These guys are getting out of jail, and they're going back to their old habits and terrorizing the community.
APD says the man who was shot is in critical condition. The suspect for now is being held with no bond. Prosecutors are naming a woman a possible co-defendant in the slayings of an El Rancho family. Nicholas Ortiz is accused of killing Lloyd, Dixie, and Stephen Ortiz with a pickaxe in 2011. The New Mexican reports an affidavit filed by police reveals that they had been talking to Ashley Mae Roybal for about 2 years before they arrested Ortiz. Roybal allegedly dropped off her cousin and Ortiz outside the victim's house the night of the killings. Friday, Roybal's attorney said she has not been charged, but they have been discussing a plea agreement. Hundreds of law enforcement officers are continuing to search for prison escapee David Sweat. Police say they believe they have him in a contained perimeter and that they're using security checkpoints to make sure Sweat is not hiding in any vehicles headed out of the area. Fellow escapee Richard Matt was shot and killed by a Border Patrol agent on Friday. Police had closed in on him after getting a call of shots fired. Officers say Matt was shot when he refused to put his hands up. Today, there will be services for the 49-year-old pastor and mother of 4 who led the Bible study that became the scene of a horrific shooting in Charleston. Yesterday, mourners said goodbye to 2 more victims of the church shooting. Susie Jackson and Tywanza Sanders were among the 9 people killed in the massacre. The pair were aunt and nephew. A relative at the joint funeral read from the same passage they were reading when their Bible study group was attacked. South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley also spoke at the service.
These are names we will never forget because these are lives that meant something. These are lives that I want my children to know about.
Earlier in the day, a service was held for Cynthia Hurd, a Charleston County librarian also killed in the shooting. The national controversy continues to grow about removing the Confederate flag from South Carolina's Capitol grounds. And yesterday, one woman took matters into her own hands.
This flag comes down today.
The woman, an activist for the hashtag Black Lives Matter movement, climbed to the top of the flagpole and removed the Confederate flag herself. Police were waiting for her at the bottom and arrested her and another person. She told reporters that she was ready to go to jail for her actions.
Ma'am, why did you do that?
Because it was the right thing to do, and it's time for somebody to step up, do the right thing. We have to bury hate. It's been too long.
The flag was only down an hour before it was replaced. The controversy surrounding the flag gained momentum after the race-motivated killings of 9 black people in a church in Charleston. South Carolina's governor supports removing the flag, but it will take an act of the legislature for that to happen. It's a big weekend for poets across Albuquerque. A national poetry slam is making a pit stop in the Duke City. News 13's Aaron Drawhorn has more.
One word wrong, and the bird stops its song.
This is my piece, and it's called Navajo Culture.
This week, 10 students from all over Albuquerque performed their original poems at the National Hispanic Cultural Center.
A pinch of dirt from Grandma's house for the dark skin.
It's part of a program called Voces. Damian Flores teaches for Voces.
These programs really help kids find their voice and develop a sense of duty that when they grow up, that they pull the next one up.
I'm so excited for this performance tonight.
Flores should know he was part of the program 13 years ago. Now a professor and slam poet.
Boom.
Flores hopes to inspire young people the way he was once inspired.
I can't explain how helpful it was and encouraging it was as a young person growing up in Albuquerque to really pursue this dream of being a writer.
And the dance of death.
Terrence Pintia writes about family and meditating on the bosque.
Expressing whatever I got to express, that's like the best feeling.
He's a mentor with the program.
Because I never thought I'd be a part in helping others with anything, and to be here and to do this is it's amazing.
Helping other young poets learn the power of what they feel and how to put it into words.
Get them thinking about what I was saying and maybe even look into a different perspective of life.
Aaron Drawhorn, KRQE News 13.
Flores performed last night at the Southwest Shootout Championship. As for the teens, they're now published authors. To find out how to get your hands on some of their work, visit our KRQE app.